All right, guys, I have 13 items that you might just want to pack if you're about to take an extended RV journey. We just recently took a trip that was supposed to be only a month long that's now gone into its third month of travel, and I'm realizing in the process that I wished I would have packed a couple of things. On top of that, there are some things that I have packed that I've said to myself, thank goodness I have packed them. So my goal today is to share with you all of these items in case you are in the process of planning a journey of your own, and hopefully it can help you. Let's get right into it. The first one is actually an address book with your key addresses that you might have. Kind of an odd thing, but my mom's in Canada, I'm in the US, and I love to send her postcards, and I don't have her address. Now, you can certainly message people, but it is nice when you have any key addresses that you might need for any letter writing, have that on hand. The next item, I would make sure that you pack for all seasons. So this includes warmer temperatures and colder temperatures. What we experienced was we left and we ended up in Kansas for a month. We had 100 degrees Fahrenheit weather. We were packed for that type of weather with t-shirts, tank tops, and shorts kind of thing. But now we are in Montana. The temperatures have differed. So this is where I kind of wish I'd had warmer clothes. We've had to purchase a few things in order to be able to, have early morning walks, and night times get quite cool in the trailer, so I kind of miss my heated blanket, that type of stuff. So you want to make sure that you have the gear for all occasions. As a Canadian who now lives in Mississippi, I can tell you that February in Mississippi is still cold. Even though I'm used to colder temperatures, I find Mississippi very cold. Anywhere actually from December to February can have some pretty cool temperatures. So be prepared that even if you're in the southern states, the hotter temperature areas, coldness still applies. You can still have cool days, you can still have minus temperatures, so make sure you're packed even if you're spending your time in the south. Another thing I found useful to have on hand is a copy of any bills that might still be ongoing that aren't traveling with you. They can be good for having to call to get an update, or just reminding you that you might need to pay that bill if it's something that's not automated already. Have all your ID with you just in case. You never know when you're going to run into a situation where your bank card's deactivated because a bank has some sort of fraud moment, or you lose your bank card or you lose your credit card and you need a secondary form of identification. Or in our case, I packed my passport to go into Canada, but my husband didn't, and we had the opportunity. We could have gone into Canada, but we can't because William doesn't have his passport with him. So those are the types of things where you might realize that you need that information you may not be planning for. Let's move into the kitchen now. There's a couple of items that I really kind of wish I had, and a couple items that I did pack that I'm glad. So the next one I actually packed, and I'm really glad I did, my recipe box and my recipe books. Those have been super helpful. After almost 3 months on the road, there are many recipes that were like, oh, I want to make this tonight. And I've been able to go to my recipe books to get the recipes that I don't find. They're not on Pinterest. They're not online. These are family recipes. So I've been able to go find my own recipes from our recipe books. So if you have recipe boxes or something that you carry all your special recipes in, bring them along. You might find you need them. We're going to pause here for just a quick second. I'm going to ask a favor. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, I would be so grateful. We are always working to create more and more content, but I have to tell you just how motivating a simple subscribe is. It means a lot to me. So if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and I'll know, okay, keep going, make more content. Make sure you have more than one cooking source in your unit. You ideally have some sort of propane cooking source, but propane can run out and you may not have both tanks. You may not realize that one tank is out. Maybe somebody didn't tell you they used up all the propane on the heat and they switched it over, but you want to make sure that you have two sources to cook on. So the second source might be just something electrical that you can plug in, or maybe you have smaller cooking units that you can use the small green bottle tanks on and you have that as an emergency backup. But I would always make sure that you have two cooking sources on hand. Also along the lines of cooking, before you start packing up for your big trip, make sure you pay attention to what cooking tools that you use in your kitchen. I have a favorite can opener. I know it's crazy, but it is a Pampered Chef can opener. It's easy to use, and I don't like any other can opener. I'm so glad I've packed it because I've obviously used it a lot, right? So there are certain tools that you will be very grateful that you have at home that you'll want to make sure travel with you. And a bonus tip, take a look at your cooking tools and actually make sure that they fit in what you're cooking in. So if you have a propane stove, make sure that the bake pans fit in your propane stove, or if you have an electric stove that you're using, make sure that you can fit them. I had to, for example, buy a muffin tin that only has 6 spots in it to fit them in the stove that I use. I have a small Pampered Chef stone that I use to cook in often, but it's tiny. So a lot of the times the stuff that you get at your home or you use at home are much bigger than can fit in a trailer. So you want to make sure your utensils actually fit and can be used. Before you travel, make sure you see your doctor and have a full refill of all your prescriptions on hand. And then refill as many as you possibly can before you head out. You can go to places like Walmart and Walgreens and they will move your prescriptions to whatever state you're in, and it takes a bit of time. Usually it's like 20 minutes and they'll get it approved from this previous state. But if you travel with 3 months supply, you won't have to do that hopefully as often. And then when you make sure that you have a full year, of your prescriptions on hand, you won't have to worry about your doctor saying to you, oh, sorry, you've got to come back and have an appointment before we can renew that prescription, leaving you in a bit of a pickle. So this one I actually experienced recently when we had our stay at Pruitt RV Park in Cascade, Montana. I really missed having my camera and binoculars, so make sure you have all the tools that you would normally need in order to do some really exceptional sightseeing. I certainly have my phone camera, that's been helpful, but having my camera with my big zoom was going to be super helpful in that area because it had so much wildlife, so I missed having it. This one only became apparent recently at our KOA stay in Great Falls, Montana. We are camped a long ways away from the garbage bins and from the laundry area, and we're here in an extended stay. Now, I don't mind being far away from the garbage bin. Trust me, that's honestly quite nice. But the laundry area, it's a bit tough to load around a full laundry basket and walk it through the campground. I really don't love that. But having a wagon that has like the fold up sides on it would have been great to have. It's the first time though in our 3 months that I have felt like I've needed it. Cascade, Montana, we didn't need that by any means. We were right behind the laundry facility. It was like a 2-step walk to it. However, here it is a much longer walk, and I really wished I'd had a wagon with me. Here's a unique one, and probably not for everybody, but I like to do a lot of nature walks, and sometimes some of the trails are a bit rough. I love a good walking stick. One of the things I did pack that I've been glad that we've had, especially since we've been in Great Falls, Montana, but our kettle. We've had a lot of tea and a lot of hot chocolate in the cooler temperatures, and I've been very much enjoyed having my kettle here. Quite handy. This next one may not apply to everybody. Not everybody loves this stuff, but I happen to miss my seasonal decorations. We weren't planning on being gone this long. We've moved into fall, and I really love, those fall touches, that decor that you kind of change your space up into. It won't be long, and we'll be shifting into the Christmas season kind of focus. I do have a Christmas tree, I think, hidden somewhere. I know those things can kind of take up space, but I still wish that I'd had a small box of those type of items so I could kind of apply that feel to the trailer. All right, guys, that's it. What did I miss? Put them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Happy travels.